So in this week's blog, I'm talking about an ongoing battle that goes on in most companies, and that's the battle between the need to be flexible and commercially agile and the need for some level of control over the business. So back in my mid-20s, I worked in the head office at Tesco's, and at that time in my life I was a smoker, and so I used to frequent the smoking rooms along with quite a number of very interesting people from around the business, including a main board director. And one day the main board director asked me what it was I did, and I told him I worked in the corporate audit department, and I always remember his reply. He said, auditors, accountants and lawyers. He said, do you want to know the problem with you lot? He said, you're the condoms of industry. He said, we know we need you, but you kind of take all the fun out of it. In the last few weeks, I've had a couple of occasions where I've had to recall that story to some of my clients because these types of battles are going on within their own companies. And typically, these battles take place in the domains of quality management, health and safety, expenditure control, and sometimes purchasing as well. Now, you think, being a corporate auditor with over 20 years of auditing under my belt, that I tend to err towards the control end, but I kind of always had a sense that there was this grey area of managed risk, and I was more interested in, has the debate about what risk we're willing and not willing to take been had fully, rather than just being left to the whims of one or the other individual or point of view. Both parties, whether you're the commercial pragmatist or the person trying to reinforce the need for compliance or control, have very compelling arguments to make, which means it's very difficult to make a decision between the two ends of the spectrum. And in fact, I think this is often where commercial leaders really earn their salaries, in being able to weigh up two distinctly different domains and make a decision between them. So I've got a couple of ideas about how we resolve these types of differences. So number one is make sure we've got all the right people in the debate, that we're getting representation from all of the functions involved, and that we're getting the sharing of the right perspectives. Number two is always go back to the source documents. Have we really understood both the spirit and the word of the regulations or the policies or the directives that we are using to measure our level of compliance against? And finally, can we actually establish who has the ultimate authority to make a decision if we can't reach a consensus? And I've got another one I would just briefly add, a half point if you like, which came from an idea one of my clients had, which is, whatever the debate is about, have the discussion in the place where the activity takes place. So if it's a health and safety issue and it's on the shop floor, all go down and have the debate on the shop floor, because you need to bring the reality of the situation to life to make a well-rounded decision. And it's where I think having a jester like myself with no functional bias but with a broad and deep perspective of your company can be pretty useful. Someone that can arbitrate those types of decisions and help the right people consider the full perspectives to make a good decision.